Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Mike here for you with another hookah pipe review, and tonight we're looking at the Roy UFO. Now, I did get this courtesy of Roy, so a huge thanks to everybody over there. I absolutely love this hookah, and I'm very excited to bring this review to you. So with that, here we go. Now, as you see here, folks, I have it set up the way that it would come out of the box, with the exception of the hose. I didn't have a whole lot of room up there, so that's off to the side. We'll talk about that in a minute. As far as the packaging, comes in this nice, sturdy, heavy-duty cardboard box. All the pieces are individually and securely bubble wrapped, and you have your plethora of packing peanuts in there to secure everything into place. So excellent packaging, no complaints there. As far as the different pieces, we'll start off with the hose. All Roy hookahs are made of Pyrex glass, so they're very sturdy, very good quality, and that comes along with the hose. Excuse my camera work, but nice Pyrex glass, about 12-inch long handle. It's got the Roy logo there. The gauge of it, it's pretty open. Nice gauge to it. And then the hose itself is medical grade tubing, so very sturdy. You can twist this, pull it, bend it. It's going to withstand some abuse. The port end of the hose, as you can hopefully see, all the fittings of the Roy hookahs got this kind of frosted look to it, and that just pretty much ensures a snug fit. So, as far as the hose goes, it's an excellent hose. It's 100% washable, and I will say that in my experience using it, which has been quite a bit, I haven't experienced too much ghosting with it. Of course, there are certain flavors you are going to get some ghosting, but a quick rinse, you're back in business. Excellent hose. Of course, you're not limited to using that hose, though. You can use pretty much whatever hose you want to use in this, and in most cases without any type of grommet. So very versatile in that department. As far as the bowl, always grab the stem when you're taking the bowl out, otherwise you could possibly pull that stem out with it and do things you don't want to do with it. It could fall down, it could twist and just hit the sides as you're pulling it out. So just always secure that in place when you're pulling the bowl out. The bowl itself is a nice Pyrex glass funnel style bowl. Easy to pack, easy to clean, disperses heat evenly. I've used this numerous times with numerous types of tobacco, no issues at all. So excellent bowl. Again, you do not have to be limited to using this bowl. You can buy adapters or make adapters, which we'll talk about in just a little while. If you're wondering, hopefully I can get a good shot. Cloud users, it does work. The Lotus itself is a little wider, so it sits kind of obscurely on there, but it will work. The Purge, not a whole lot to say here. Nice Pyrex glass Purge, glass ball bearing in there. Of course, you can make this a 2-hose hookah or a 1-hose with a plug, no Purge, whatever you want to do. The down stem just sits down in there. Again, Pyrex. Roy logo towards the top. Not incredibly wide open. We'll talk about how that translates to the smoking in just a little bit. Moving on down, hopefully you can see it's got these grooves at the bottom, and those pretty much act as your diffuser. Alright, so last but not least, the base, which is all one piece. Hopefully you can tell. And what you, I guess, could call the heart. It's the Roy logo moving down to the bottom base. And one thing I really love about this is the pedestal on the bottom. Gives you about another inch and a half elevation. Just kind of makes it look cool and gives you added support. So I really like that. And of course makes an excellent desktop hookah. Alright folks, so that's pretty much it as far as the stock design goes. We'll go ahead and set it back up. Let you take one more look at it before I start talking about all the additional accessories. So there you go. The Roy UFO. Hopefully here folks you can tell it's got a unique, modern, new design to it. So the name of it, UFO, I think is very fitting for this pipe. I love it. If you like that sort of thing, it's awesome. Now, I know that some folks out there, you want a more traditional style looking hookah. So let me start talking about all the additional accessories. I myself have to have a tray when smoking hookah. I just have to do it. You might not necessarily have to have one. I do. So fortunately, Roy has a few options as far as trays go. This is the original smoke tray, meaning that it just fills up with smoke and it gives a nice cool effect to it. I'd have to say from top to bottom it's about 4 to 5 inches. So and it does have some water in there. I just rinsed it out. Doesn't matter. But you add that into the stem and you've got another 4 or 5 inches. Hopefully at this point you can start telling you're adding length to that stem. It's starting to take on a more traditional style looking hookah. Let's talk about the bowl. As I mentioned, you don't have to be limited to the bowl that it comes with. You can buy adapters. If you don't want to buy an adapter, you can make one. Let's talk about buying an adapter first. I do have one. I won't talk a whole lot about this because it kind of bums me out, but there it is. Basically what it is 2 male ends that you can stick one in the stem or in the top of the tray, whichever style you have it. The other end though, here's the depressing part. I broke it. Now, I want to stress that this was not the fault of anybody but my own. It's certainly not a lack of quality and material. It took about a 3-foot drop onto some tile and took about 6-7 hops before it finally broke. So, you know, nobody's fault but my own. The good news is though that it does still work. Just slides right down in there. I'm kind of limited to using that size specifically to stick into the stem, but that's not a big deal at all. And you know, it still works. So therefore, just put a grommet on there, and that is the Godfather bowl. Look at that. You see how it went from the UFO style looking hookah and now it kind of looks like a traditional hookah if you use your imagination. It's awesome. I love it. Now, as I said, you don't have to buy an adapter. You know, they're not the cheapest accessory. So I'll tell you what you can do. If you have any extra fancy hoses, new hoses laying around, grab you one of those ends that you stick into the port side of the hookah. Put a little bit of tape around it, cut it off at the end, because if you don't, it might get hot enough inside of the bowl and start to melt. But in most cases you're going to want like a mod style grommet. Stick that on there. Stick it in the stem. Check it out. I've got the VR made bowl there. So now it kind of looks more like a UFO again, but with that particular bowl. But you get the idea. So there you have it, guys. The Roy UFO. I'm going to come back and show you how it performs, give you my final thoughts. So until then, be right back. Alright guys, on to the fun stuff. Now as you see, I've got it set up just like it would come out of the box for reviewing purposes. Again, I generally always smoke with a tray, but just for reviewing purposes I wanted to show you how it looked as it came. So I've got standard tap water in the base. One of the cool things about glass hookahs though, folks, is adding food coloring to the water. Of course you don't have to do it. It's a little bit hipster, a little bit trendy, but it does look cool, and you can come up with whatever color combinations you want. I've got green on the bottom, yellow on the top. It's a little tricky to do. I just drop whatever I want in the bottom down the center hole here where the stem would go, and then drop whatever I want in the top down the port hole here, and just kind of rinse that out by running a little bit of water in it. So again, not something that you have to do in order for it to work properly, but definitely does give it a cool look. So I've got some Tangiers Berque Corchata, which by the way guys, in case you're wondering, is amazing, but we'll talk about that in an upcoming review. So here we go. As you see, performs beautifully, definitely putting out the clouds. Now I talked earlier on about the stem, how it's a little bit thin, it doesn't have a very wide open gauge. Now in terms of smoking it, I don't want to say that it is very wide open. It's not quite as wide open as something like a KM, but it's definitely not as restricted as something like a Syrian hookah. I would have to say it's somewhere kind of in the middle of it. But in either case, it definitely performs well, and you're definitely getting a good draw from it. So, moving on to the Purge. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you how the UFO purges. Now, before I do so, I just want to let you know what's going to happen. When you're inhaling, you're taking smoke in, you're filling up the entire portion of the base, the bottom part as well as the top. But when you purge it, you're not able to clear the smoke from that bottom portion of the base. You're only clearing the top portion. So let me demonstrate. Here comes the purge. So as you see, it purges easily, it purges very nice, but you're only clearing that top portion of the base. Now, I don't know the logic behind it or the physics, but you would think that with the smoke remaining in the bottom portion of the base, that you would get stale or harsh smoke. I've got to tell you though, folks, I've never had that issue. Again, I don't know why. I think it's because of the actual design of the hookah itself. The hose port doesn't actually aim down that center hole to where it's going to allow you to blow into that bottom portion of the base. But what it does is it gives you enough room for that air, or for the smoke to circulate on the bottom portion, and it will just kind of drift up to the top portion and will eventually clear itself out. Now of course you let it sit for a few minutes and everything's going to clear out of that base. But again, no harsh smoke. It purges very easily, very nice purge. So with that, I'll be right back. Alright folks, there you saw the purge of it. Performs beautifully once again. And again, even though that you're not getting that bottom portion of the base cleared of the smoke, I still do not get any harsh smoke from it. So that's amazing to me. Just simply amazing. So with that, folks, I don't really think there's a whole lot else to talk about it. It performs beautifully, it looks wonderful, and I absolutely love this hookah. If you're looking for a glass hookah, I definitely recommend checking out the Roy. If you like the UFO, definitely go and pick it up. If that's not something that you're really interested in, you're wanting a different style, pick up another Roy. You know, as far as the Roy brand goes, in its class, as far as quality and performance and price range, it is definitely a top contender, and you definitely cannot go wrong with any one of the Roy hookahs. So definitely pick one up. Now, to talk a little bit more about the optional accessories, again guys, I highly recommend that you pick up the extra accessories. Number one, the tray, whether it be a smoke tray or regular tray, whatever. Get a tray, because I don't know, you just have to have a tray. You can't use a wind cover without a tray. It becomes a mess, ashes falling everywhere without a tray. Get a tray. So as far as the bowl, again, the bowl is a very good bowl. I like the bowl. I'm using the stock bowl right now, but I do recommend getting an adapter so that you can use whatever bowl that you want to use for certain reasons, such as, you know, you want to smoke a couple bowls in a row, you take this one, swap it out with another one, or you can buy another one of these type of bowls. So one of the nice things about Roy is that all the accessories are available to purchase separately. Now, as far as quality goes, guys, you know, I mentioned earlier about the adapter, and I did show you this homemade adapter. Again, this does work, but I would not recommend it for constant use. What happens is that it's going to get hot inside of that bowl, and especially if you don't trim it down, it sticks up to about the bottom part of the bowl where it's even hotter, and it starts to melt away, and you don't want to have that happen. But in a bind, you can definitely use this. I'm not taking credit for this idea. I don't know where it originated. I saw it on one of the Facebook groups. Someone posted a picture. I don't know if they originated the idea, but in either case, it does work. But folks, if you're spending the money on a Roy hookah, don't cheap out on the accessories. Go and get you the accessories, mainly the tray and the bowl adapter. So with that, folks, I think that's really all that I have for this review. I don't think there's much else that I can say about it. Just go and get it. Another big thanks to all the folks at Roy for sending this my way. A big shout out to the folks at 5 Star Hookah for actually handling the delivery of this from Roy to me. So big thanks over there. And of course, folks, you're able to find this or any other style Roy hookah at 5starhookah.com. So go check them out. Big thanks for watching. If you can, please comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, smoke on.